Okay, so welcome friends. I'm going to write some code for faculty class. So just a little bit background. We created a person class. The person class has a few constructors. The data members are name and ID, and then we said that let's create a student class that derives from public person class and adds two attributes or two instance variables, GPA and major. And we will create another similar class, faculty, which derives from person, and we will add two attributes which will be we will add salary, and we will add a string as department. Of course we need to add underscore for these variables, and we will make them protected, so that actually here we will just make them private, because we don't want to use right now we don't have any plans to further extend these class faculty. So let's do this. In faculty class we will switch header. So in the default constructor we will include the, let me copy from here. So we'll initialize the information in faculty class. Sorry. So we will just say name faculty, and the output should be faculty class default constructor called, and we will also instantiate the members. So department to ECE, and we will instantiate salary to, let's say, 90,000. Okay, so that's good for the default constructor. Now the next thing we will do is we will create another constructor which will take 4 arguments: ID, name, then actually let's make department first and salary later. So okay, so this is our constructor, and we will use initialization list, and I'll put some debug code. 4 argument constructor called. We will use ID, sorry, for department we will use department, and for salary instance variable we will use the parameter salary. And then, as we saw this earlier, we will invoke the person class constructor for which takes 2 arguments, ID and name. So let me scroll here. So we will pass ID and name to this. Okay, so that's our constructor. I hope you got to see this. So we are calling the 2 argument constructor for the person class, the base class, and we are initializing department and salary in initialization list, and also creating the person object using the 2 argument constructor. So that's our faculty classes 4 argument constructor. Let's we could create mutator and accessor methods both, but for now we will just create the accessor method for department and salary. So that has to be a string department, and we will pass the so this is a const method, and then double salary const, and we can write accessor Okay, and then we will also add a void print method, which will be our, remember we created a virtual print method here in the base class. So in the faculty class, the print method is only going to override the method from the base class. So overriding base class method, and actually the signature or the definition has to be exactly same, except we don't need virtual there, but we do need const, so we will add const also here. Oops. Okay, so we will add the definition, add definition, and go back. We'll write the code in a minute. So we add the definition for the accessor method, and we also add the definition for the print method. Okay, so for the department, we return the instance variable department. For salary, we will return the instance variable salary. And for print, now again, as we did there, we will call the base classes. So this is important. We use the scope resolution operator. We call the base classes print method, and then we also see out some other things, which is let me copy this so we have the same format. So we will say faculty department is, oops, department. Of course we could use an accessor, but we don't need to use accessor because department is belongs to the same class, and so therefore we have access to the instance variable. So essentially we could use either, but so we could use the salary accessor method for salary, but it's inefficient. We could use just salary as the data member. Okay, so our class is ready. Let's test it. We will include now include faculty.h, and then we will create a faculty object, and let me do this here. So I'll just use the 4 arguments here. So 1 2 3 Nandan, and my department EC, well, let's make it different, so I'll say CS department, and then salary, so I'll just put something, why not. So that's the 100K, and then what I want to show you now is this. So for now I'm just going to comment this line and comment this line so that we can see. I hope there is no errors here. So the person class 2 argument constructor is called, and faculty class 4 argument constructor called. Let's print the information so we know for sure that everything is working fine. So we can see that ID is 123, name Nandan, department CS, salary 100K. So looks like everything is working fine. Now we also created the student class earlier and student object. So if we add that, then we can see that initially student class object is created using these two lines, next two lines where faculty class is created, and then person and the faculty class. Okay, so now this is actually kind of review. We have already done this before, but now I want to show you that I can call we have the pointer, which is a base class pointer, person PTR, and that can point to an object of any derived class, or even an object of the base class, of course, but also we can use the pointer of the base class to point to an object of a derived class, and that is essentially upcasting, because we are in one sense converting a derived class object to or a pointer to a derived class object to a base class object or a pointer to a base class. Now if I call person underscore ptr dot print, what I want you to see is that these two lines, or this line 17, is going to call the print function of the student class, and this function is going to call the print function of the faculty class. And just to make the output more meaningful, which is always useful, I'll say student info and then add a new line, and then before we have this output I'll say faculty info, so we can see this. And then before we do this, I'll just say creating a student object, faculty object. Okay, so now we run this. There's a lot of output, and maybe I'll just put this /n so it's there's a little more space, and you can see this, just one space can make a lot of difference in reading the output. Okay, so now we are creating the student object, and then we see that we create the faculty object, we call the print method, then we print student information, and you can see the print method we call using the person ptr, it actually calls the student classes print method. And when the person ptr is now pointing to a faculty object, when we call the print method, it's calling the faculty classes print method. And this is essentially what is polymorphism, where one particular object can take many forms, or one particular variable can take many forms, and depending on the specific actual object that the pointer is pointing to, the appropriate print method is called. So I hope you get this idea. We have a print method in person class which is virtual, so we are this is a virtual method for to be overridden in derived classes. And then in the student class we have the override base class method, and then in faculty also we have the print method, for which is overriding the base class method. And then in main, when the person pointer is pointing to student object, and I'll write this here, calls student, actually we can make it better, calls student : print, and this one calls faculty : print. Okay, now so that's it for this one. Thank you very much.